Dirty dealings, corporate battles, consumer wars. This is Evening 5. Ex-1MDB President Arul Kanda is suing his former employer for a total of 2.702 million ringgit for loss of 2 months' salary and to seek the balance of his bonus. In his statement of claim, Arul Kanda said his job upon joining 1MDB in 2015 was to help with its restructuring and to cut the company's debt, which had reached 50 billion ringgit. The measures he took, he said, had managed to reduce 1MDB's debt by some 18 billion ringgit in a space of 2 years. According to Arul Kanda, 1MDB then extended his employment contract, which was due to end on December 31st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018 and included an ex gratia bonus of 5 million ringgit plus a monthly salary of 101,300 ringgit from January to June 2018. He was paid 2.5 million ringgit of the ex gratia, but alleges he was neither paid the balance nor the remaining 2 months' salary. Following a change in government in May 2018, Arul Kanda is also seeking general and exemplary damages. Under the PH administration, he said he was subject to investigations, had his account frozen, was not allowed to leave the country and charged with abetting former PM Datuk Sri Najib Razak in the 1MDB audit tampering case. This, he claimed, had affected his reputation and livelihood. While he was eventually acquitted on the audit tampering case, he and Tan Sri Muhammad Irwan Serga Abdullah are still facing 1MDB's $6.59 billion suit, which he claims is malafide and an abuse of the court process. TMK Chemical, a chemical management and storage company operating out of Malaysia, Singapore and Vietnam, has filed for an initial public offering on Bursa Malaysia's Main Market. According to its draft prospectus, it is aiming to raise funds for the expansion of one of its existing plants in Banting and the construction of a new processing facility in Singapore. TMK was founded in 1989 by the youngest of the billionaire Lee brothers of plantation giant Kuala Lumpur Kepong or KLK and is currently controlled by Dato' Lee Sun Hian. Lee quit as an executive director of KLK in 2004 and bought his brother Dato' Lee Hao Hian's shares in 2006 to focus on TMK. The proposed IPO comprises entirely of 220 million new shares, representing 22% of the enlarged share capital. TMK also plans to set aside parts of the IPO proceeds for potential acquisitions and investments in inorganic chemicals or a similar industry within the Asia-Pacific region. It will also partly repay Islamic term financing of 250 million ringgit and allocate some funds to meet its working capital requirements as well as for defraying listing expenses. KK Supermart and Superstore and supplier Chang as business entities have each been given a 60,000 ringgit fine by the Shah Alam Sessions Court after pleading guilty for wounding religious feelings in the Allah Socks controversy. However, KK Mart founder Datuk Sri Dr. Chai Ki Kan, his wife Datin Sri Lo Siu Mui, and 3 directors of Chang were granted an acquittal after the prosecution withdrew its case. Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Masri Muhammad Daud informed the court earlier that the Attorney General's chambers had accepted the representation letters submitted by the individuals but was continuing its prosecution on the firms. Following this, KK Mart and the supplier admitted guilt for the offence and were issued the fine. The Allah Socks incident on March 13th had stoked a frenzied reaction from various quarters, with some calling for a boycott of the KK Mart stores. 3 days later, its founder Chai publicly apologised. Chang's Chin Huat had previously explained that the socks were obtained in a bundle from China, which arrived in a batch of 1,200 pairs at their facility last year. Palm oil is expected to extend its rally through the second half of the year, said a Bloomberg report, as the looming onset of La Nina threatens already strained supplies. Citing Donald Keeney, a meteorologist with forecaster Maxa, the report said the weather phenomenon is expected to set in from September or October, which could bring above normal rains to key growers in Southeast Asia. While the extent of rainfall is unpredictable, its timing coincides with the peak harvest season for the crop, which could lead to field work disruptions. This, Julian McGill, an agricultural economist and managing director of consultancy Glenelg Economics, told Bloomberg, can result in near-term shortages of palm oil and push up prices of the commodity in the short term. The report notes that palm oil plantations have already been battered by erratic weather, limited expansions and aging trees. The situation has pushed prices up more than 5% so far this year, leaving the market increasingly vulnerable to further setbacks. According to the median of 30 estimates in a Bloomberg survey of traders, analysts and plantation executives, benchmark futures in Malaysia will close the year at 4,000 ringgit a tonne. That would put them on track for the first annual gain since 2021, potentially making food prices costlier globally. Putrajaya will allocate 871 million ringgit to cover reductions in imbalance cost pass-through surcharge rates for commercial and industrial users in Peninsular Malaysia in the second half of the year. Speaking in the Dewan Rakyat, Deputy Energy Transition and Water Transformation Minister Akmal Nasrullah Muhammad Nasir noted that this follows the government's decision to lower the surcharge by 1 cent to 16 cent per kilowatt hour for commercial and industrial users in the peninsula during this period. Putrajaya also reduced the surcharge for low-voltage non-domestic users in specific agricultural tariff categories and water and sewerage operators to 2.7 cent per kilowatt hour. Tariffs for domestic users remain unchanged. This reduction was announced last month by the ministry, which had said that the aim was to help maintain the stability of the price of goods in the market while supporting the government's efforts to encourage investment in Malaysia and ultimately create more jobs and bolster economic growth. Akmal highlighted today that the competitive electricity tariffs in the peninsula, which are among the lowest in Southeast Asia, had successfully attracted interest from foreign investors such as Google and Microsoft to invest in Malaysia.